Welcome back. Next is Richard Vevers, CEO of the Ocean Agency. But you'll recognize him from the super hit Netflix documentary, Chasing Coral. He's here to tell us about his passion for coral reefs and his experience while filming Chasing Coral.
Okay, hello everybody out there. Happy World Oceans Day. And if you're just tuning in, welcome to Coralpalooza Digital 2020. We are so excited to be joined by a very special guest, Richard Vevers from the Ocean Agency. Richard, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Well, it's great to be here and looking forward to chatting with you.
Thank you so much. So obviously, Coralpalooza is all about coral. What was your first experience with corals and coral reefs?
My very first experience, I mean, I've always loved the ocean and started diving at a young age, but the first time I ever got to experience coral reef was in Cuba. We were on one of the first flights out to the southern part of the island. And went snorkeling out to the reef on my own and had one of those wonderfully scary experiences of just coming face to face with this other world, and just fell in love with coral reefs from the start.
That's awesome. So a lot of people, I mean, you've been doing so much actually for raising awareness about coral reefs. I think probably the most famous, the most well-known thing you've done is the Netflix mega hit, Chasing Coral. That's probably where most people know you from. So will you give us a little bit of insight into sort of why you made this amazing film?
Well, I'd never really thought about doing a film. We'd been racing around the world trying to engage people with what was happening with coral reefs. And then on a flight, while I was going to one of these locations, I saw the documentary Chasing Ice, which was done by this brilliant director, Jeff Orlowski. And he made people emotional about disappearing ice. And I thought, well, if he could do that about ice, he can do an absolutely amazing job with coral reefs. And he did just that. He followed me and the team around for close to, well, a bit over 3 years, recording what became the worst die-off in history of coral reefs, and was able to tell that story in a highly engaging way.
Yeah, I think that most people will agree that film has had more of an impact on the world in terms of raising awareness about these ecosystems than anything else. Had you, when you decided to schedule the filming, were you aware that this bleaching event was about to happen, or was that serendipitous?
It was absolutely serendipitous. We had no idea. Normally the sort of global bleaching events happened sort of every, well, it was sort of 10 years, then 5 years. We didn't know whether it was going to be another 5 or 10 years before and the next big one hit. But we started filming because we wanted to tell this story so badly. And we were there at the right time with the right team to be able to reveal it properly.
Gosh, how amazing. What was the most sort of profound moment for you during filming?
There were so many profound moments, from sort of going to New Caledonia and discovering kind of these glowing corals in these fluorescent colours, to really just recording what was happening to the Great Barrier Reef. And the Great Barrier Reef, suffered its worst ever die-off. We lost 50% of the corals over a 2-year period, which is just unbelievable sort of scale. And we were there to sort of really witness it underwater. I remember one dive where we got to the site and you could just smell it from hundreds and hundreds of meters away, just the essentially rotting animals. And then when you got underwater, you saw real death of the reef. And it hits you in a sort of really profound way.
Yeah, God, that's awful. Have you been back to any of the places that you filmed to see how they've done?
To be honest, no. You're kind of so scarred by the experience of watching that kind of thing that you don't really want to go back, even if there is a little bit of recovery in a short period of time. Normally it takes a reef 10 years plus to bounce back and look healthy again. So what we've been doing is really focusing on the good news stories. So focusing on the areas which are least vulnerable to climate change rather than the areas which are most vulnerable. So we've been on expeditions to Indonesia to see some sort of remarkable reefs that are in better condition after the global die-off than before. So that's why we're sort of really concentrating our efforts now.
That's extraordinary. Is this part of your 50 Reefs initiative?
Yes, that was part of the 50 Reefs initiative. It was one of the sites that we identified by the scientists during the filming of coral reefs as least vulnerable to climate change, most important for reseeding other reefs, and one of the sites that would make a sort of almost perfect portfolio for investing in. And that project led to one of the biggest ever philanthropic donations to sort of coral reef conservation. So we were delighted with the success of that campaign.
It's amazing. You've done so much. One of the things we have to talk about for Coralpalooza, because we are riding its coattails, is the Glowing, Glowing, Gone campaign. For anybody, would you just give people out there just an overview of what it is in case anybody's been living under a rock and they haven't heard about it?
Well, the Glowing, Glowing, Gone campaign came really from that moment in New Caledonia where we saw all these corals flourishing in these incredible colours. And my background is advertising. And colour is one of the best ways of engaging people in a subject, whether it is your brand or whether it's a cause. And you look at the success of campaigns like the Pride campaign, getting businesses to support social causes. So we thought what we needed to do was something similar for coral reefs and use these vibrant colours as a way of really exciting people around coral reef restoration and conservation. And so we developed this campaign with Pantone and Adobe to really engage the creative community first. And we got 1,500 artists getting involved in using these colours to talk about the ocean's warning. And that led into the World Surf League getting involved, turning one of their sort of big events glowing. So you had people like Kelly Slater in his glowing jersey talking about coral reef restoration and coral reef conservation, which was great. And it's grown from strength to strength now with more and more brands wanting to get involved. Only last week, HP contacted us wanting to really sort of help support this campaign. And it's been very, very successful.
That's so fantastic. And I think for anybody out there watching, if you keep exploring the Coralpalooza digital platform, you'll actually find a film from those surfers who were involved in the Glowing campaign out there. So keep exploring the platform and get an idea of the stuff that Richard's talking about. So you've had an amazing response to the Glow campaign. So what's next? What's next for the Ocean Agency?
Well, we're really wanting to sort of double down. 2020 was meant to be it was the super year for the oceans. It was when we were going to have all the big decisions that would really be critically important for protecting reefs over the next 10 years. But those conferences, because of the global pandemic, have been pushed back to 2021. So what we're going to do now is use this opportunity of people being at home, celebrities being at home, to be able to do a sort of digital campaign that shows public support. And so we're going to be launching a big campaign around the Glowing campaign in probably sort of early July now. So we're hoping we can then show the mainstream support for marine protection at these key events in 2021.
That is so exciting, Richard. We can't wait. I mean, everything that comes out of the Ocean Agency is just so impactful. I'm really excited. We'll be keeping an eye out for that for sure.
Well, there's actually, one of the reasons why we did this campaign is, we've realised there's a formula for action. And that formula is you need more than just the outrage. So conservation organisations often just really focus on the outrage to get action. And often that leads to inaction. People feel paralysed by the scale of the issue and the complexity of the solution. So you do need the optimism and you do need excitement. And that excitement really comes from getting major brands involved. We've just started working with the Ocean Race, so the round the world yacht race. And what we're trying to do is bring the mentality of winning into ocean conservation and the excitement that a brand like that can bring to a cause like this. So it's a very exciting time.
Yeah, it really is. That's so fantastic. And I think that, you know, that's one of the exciting things about Coralpalooza, especially Coralpalooza Digital, is it's amazing, you know, if you go out into the exhibit hall and just take a look at all of the incredible people and the incredible organizations that are out there in the world right now working to restore reefs and providing hope for these ecosystems that are under threat. So we're definitely speaking the same language, Richard.
Absolutely.
If you could choose just one change to make to benefit the future of coral reefs, what would it be?
I think right now we need government action. And so we need governments to be supporting really sort of things like the Paris Agreement. Paris Agreement really is pivotal for coral reefs. We know that if we don't stick to the Paris Agreement, we will lose about 99% of coral reefs. So we need to make sure governments really stand up and deliver on those promises.
Yeah, absolutely. And so do you have hope? I mean, do you think people are ready to put pressure on sort of legislation to make these changes? Do you have hope for coral reefs?
I certainly have a lot of hope. I'm one of these eternal optimists. Coming from sort of the advertising background, you know how fast society can change, and the current pandemic is only just a slight indication of that. You have seen everyone work together. You have seen society change in an instant, and it can. So I think there is sort of two bits of optimism. Is one, the ability of people to work on emotion and change direction very, very quickly. And then two is the survival of corals. Corals are survivors. They've been around for 500 million years. And even if we only save a few percent, they can rebound incredibly quickly. So it is about how much we can save and how we can support them to rebound and help restore them back to health very, very quickly. And so I feel incredibly optimistic that we can change this, this situation and really turn it around.
Yeah, I think we'd all agree. Richard, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here today. We're thrilled to have you, especially as Coralpalooza this year is all about the Glowing, Glowing, Gone campaign. We're all glowing in support of coral reefs. So absolutely thrilled to have you here as part of this event.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. And we're huge fans of the Coral Restoration Foundation.
Thanks, Richard. Happy World Oceans Day.
And the same to you. Thank you.